Arsenal 4, Tottenham 1. And I'm sorry this is coming a day later, but it's better late than never. And what a performance. The title of this video is Demolition Derby because that was a smackdown. That was a smackdown from start to finish. Absolute beatdown. Listen, the first 30 minutes, we had that one chance. We had that one chance with Declan Rice. Great ball from Eze, who I'm going to get to in a minute. Shout out Eze. Eze chips the ball over. Rice has a shot on target. For me, he should be scoring. You know, if he goes either side of the goalkeeper, it's a goal. He hit it with that much pace that even a little bit left or right, it's a goal. But that was our only chance in the opening 30 minutes. We were huffing and puffing. We had all of the ball, though. Spurs yesterday had no ambition to play out. They went with a 5 at the back, and their wing backs weren't getting forward. That midfield got exposed. A midfield 2, whenever a team plays a midfield 2 against a midfield 3, I think that's a recipe for disaster, especially against a team like Arsenal, who's so good in possession. And we were magnificent in possession yesterday. And then the opening comes through with Trossard, Mikel Merino. Okay, I understand that he kind of had to start because there's no Havertz and there's no Gyökeres, so he had to start. I was a little bit worried about, okay, we have a makeshift striker going up against 3 center backs. How's that going to look? But he dropped into that pocket of space, chipped the ball over to Trossard. Trossard's shot got deflected and it went in. You know, it was a little bit of a lucky finish, but the pass deserved that finish. And to be honest, when you're on top, as long as we were on top, you know, a lucky goal, a deserved goal, it doesn't matter. You're happy, you get the lead, and we deserved it. So, you know, it's not like, oh, we got very fortunate. No, we deserved that goal. We were on top that opening 35 minutes, and we get the goal. And then the man of the match comes in. Eberiche Eze. Unbelievable. God damn, that dude went crazy. His first goal. Beats a couple of players. You know, nice feet, pause. You know, dances at the edge of the area. And then just slaps a shot bottom corner. Brilliant finish. 2-0. And at that point, you're thinking, with our defense and the ways Tottenham and the way that Tottenham is playing, game over. We start the second half. Eze again, this time on his left foot. A Saka-esque finish on his weaker foot. Unbelievable. Incredible. We go up 3-0, and that was at the start of the second half. At the start of the second half, Spurs sleeping. They just made a substitution. They just went to a back 4. They brought on Xavi Simons, who did not play well at all, and who's had a rough start at life at Tottenham. But we take a 3-0 lead, and then it's comfortable. It's comfortable after that. We concede a world-class goal. Richarlison did nothing all game except for that finish. That was an incredible finish. He had to get it, he had to hit everything perfect because Raya was scrambling, but Raya would have got to that if that was hit a couple of inches lower. He would have. And, you know, it was a fantastic finish from Richarlison, but I've got to blame Zubamendi for dwelling on the ball for too long. Paulinho wins it back. And I cannot blame Raya. He's in the right position, actually, because we're in possession of the ball. The way modern-day keepers play, they stand a little bit on the edge of their area. It's you know, in case we have to play it back to him. And Richarlison with a world-class finish, but I've got to blame Zubamendi for that. But then after that, to be honest, after that, Spurs had about 10 minutes where they got into the game a little bit. They did. But, again, they weren't creating any chances. Xavi Simons had a pop shot. And then we get the fourth. Marino holds the ball up again, brings Trossard into play. Trossard finds Eze. Eze finds the back of the net. Ebereche Eze hat trick. Snubs Tottenham in the transfer window. Joins Arsenal. Scores a hat trick on their head. 4-1. Game over. And I have to shout out my man Urian Timber. I don't know if he's the best right back in the league. I guess we'll find out next week against Chelsea, because I haven't seen Reece James play that much, to be honest. So I can't make an assessment on if he's the best right back in the league. I know how good Reece James is. But if Urian Timber has a better performance, I'm willing to crown him best right back in the league. He is unbelievable. The second goal, plays the cross. The first goal plays the ball into Marino, who's in that pocket of space, to be able to play that pass to Trossard. Second goal, whips the ball in, gets headed out, finds Declan Rice with an incredible touch, who plays it into Eze. And then the third goal gets the assist to Eze. All over the pitch, defensively, incredible. Going forward, incredible. If Eze didn't get a hat trick, he might have been man of the match. But even if Eze got 2 goals, I think he would have been man of the match, in my opinion. But Urian Timber, absolutely incredible. Hincapié came in. We're worried. Is the miss of Gabriel going to be a big deal? It wasn't. It wasn't yesterday. It might be in the future, but it wasn't yesterday. Hincapié comes in, does incredibly well, mops up everything, dealt with Richarlison, and he didn't have a lot to do, to be honest, because Spurs going forward were so poor, but he was excellent. Saka I thought was good. Trossard I thought was amazing. Marino, I have to shout out Marino because that's not his position, but he played it excellently yesterday, so well. Declan Rice, world class, and who was the left back? Calafiori, solid again. Zubamendi was good, except he made that mistake, and he was giving the ball away in that opening 30 minutes a couple of times. So I thought the whole team played really well today. I thought Arteta got his tactics spot on. To be honest, I actually blame Frank more than I credit Arteta for that game yesterday, because Frank's tactics were so negative. I understood the 5 at the back. I actually agreed with Spurs playing a 5 at the back. I thought it was their best hope of getting something out of the game. But the defending wasn't good enough. And once it went to a back 4, they still didn't create any chances. When you play a back 5, you have to have some counterattacking threat. And Spurs had 0 counterattacking threat. 0. You can credit our defense, but their build-up play was horrible. They had a hard time stringing 4 or 5 passes together. It was rough. It was rough. But the demolition derby, Arsenal 4, Tottenham 1. Leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. And I'll catch you guys later. Peace.